Magandang gabi mga Polwatchers ng Bayan. Ako po si Jose Castigador Jr. or Jocas for short.
Sa ngalan naman po ni Attorney George Erwin Garcia, ako naman po si Angela Lagunsad.
At ito ang Political Watch.
Napakataas na nga po ng ekspektasyon sa paparating na administrasyong Duterte. Kaya nga naman na makakamtan o kaya ba nating makamtan ang sinasabing paparating na pagbabago ay sinasabi nilang change is coming.
Panghimayin, Tita Angel, ang usaping ito ay makakasama po namin ngayong gabi ang ating mga bisita na sina. And of course, beauty first before gentleman. We have with us this evening an assistant professor of the Department of Political Science of the University of the Philippines. She holds a doctoral degree in political science, which she earned from the State University, dating Director 3 of the Senate Economic Planning Office, Senate of the Philippines. Walang iba kundi ang ating kaibigan na si Dr. Jean Franco. Tita Jean, magandang gabi po sa inyo and welcome back sa Political Watch. With her, of course, is the founder of the Save the Nation movement, chairman of the Philippine, correct me if I'm wrong, Yusek, sa pag-pronounce, La Rouche Society, former Undersecretary of the Department of Education and an economist and certified public accountant. At that, walang iba kundi si Undersecretary Antonio Butch Valdes. Welcome back sa ating Political Watch.
Thank you for having me.
Tita Angel.
Sige, unahin ko na, no? At kasi nga ngayon, tayo ay we're expecting na sa Duterte presidency at nanalo po siya banking only with a platform of combating crime, illegal drugs,
corruption.
At saka corruption specifically. Nothing more, nothing less. At ngayon nga po, sinasabi nila, let's give him a chance. Meron tayong honeymoon period. At sa pagpasok nga po ng transition team niya at pag-align itong mga certain cabinet members, what do you think is this Duterte admin taking us?
The Duterte administration has a whole cushion of popularity that comes with it. And maybe he should take advantage of this popularity precisely to do whatever he thinks is necessary for the country and where he wants to lead it. Not merely to just pay political debts that people might be thinking he's doing now, no, but more to make use of this, because if he does other things that are a little controversial in as far as the people are concerned, then maybe that kind of popularity might erode a little too fast, no? And it's not good for his administration.
Well, I think from what I'm getting is that they're really moving fast, and every day parang meron laging press conference, so it's a good sign. They're quite transparent. That's my sense. Pero yun nga, dahil masyado silang transparent, we're now already having names kung sino yung kanilang napupuso ang mga pangalan bilang cabinet members. Of course, nagkakaroon na rin ng reaction from the public and from key sectors of society kung gusto nila o hindi. So, I guess overall, magandang sign ito.
42 days from now, or on June 30, President Digong will assume office. We can expect, of course, small changes, many of which, if not all of which, we like, and also big but controversial changes or proposed changes. Ano sa tingin ninyo, among others, yung mga proposed changes that will be controversial and can even be divisive?
Well, I guess yung yung proposal to change the constitution may actually be divisive. Pero if he's bold enough and tama yung gusto niya, na within the first 3 years of his administration, kasi after 3 years magiging suspect na naman, would you like to extend your term?
Yes.
It will open a can of worms. Let's say pag binuksan mo yung constitution na malapit na yung end ng term mo. So ito yung probably magiging divisive, kasi may mga kampo, of course, na feeling nila sacred the constitution is not a problem. So importante na if ever this really takes place, again, it's transparent and it has legitimacy in the eyes of the people.
Let's go down to specifics. Yung of course we need to revise, not just amend our constitution, and among others a shift to a federal form of government. Sa tingin nyo ba, Yusek,
Yeah.
masyado bang kontrobersyal ang federalismo, or there are only some people or some sectors who are against it, and for the most part yung karamihan sa mga kababayan natin ay do not even know what federalism is.
Yeah.
And therefore, if they are properly educated and informed, they may even like it.
Right.
So, tama ba? Tama ba ang obserbasyon na yan?
Sa akin, I think
And therefore, it cannot be as divisive as expected by some.
Yeah. Well, whether or not it's divisive will depend on the actual thing, whether when we change and how it functions. No? But even before changing our form of government, I think it should be clear to the people what the national objective is as it defines it. No? There are views on changing to parliamentary system and to federalism. No? Now, it is not just a matter of changing and then expecting changing the form and then expecting changes to happen. You must, I think, determine the substantive changes first. What is it that you want to change, and defining the goal of the country, and decide what form of government will best suit to achieve that objective. It's like changing clothes, but if you don't change the inside, no, it doesn't matter. No.
That will, of course, in part come during the discussions. Ang pagkakaalam ko lang is that the presumptive president-elect, Mayor of the Philippines, Rodrigo Duterte, wants to create a commission that will receive proposals from one and all, and then later on come up with the constitutional convention, which has to be, of course, created by law. And therefore, during the discussions and even during the deliberations in the constitutional convention, all of these things will come out. Magkakaroon ng national debate, in fact. And therefore, malalaman na ngayon ng taong bayan kung ano nga ito ang federalismo. And not only that, because there are also other changes that need to be done sa ating saligang batas. Maliban sa form of government, Tita Jane, and of course, Yusik Butch, ano pa ang dapat mga papalitan? And I know this is controversial. Yung plano na baguhin ang mga economic restrictions, the economic provisions in the Constitution, and both of you, I know, are economists.
In my view, the whole 8-point
Agenda.
that
Economic
has
agenda.
been published is already controversial as it is. Not because it's making changes, but because it's not making changes. It is a carbon copy, if at all, of the previous administration, of Noynoy's administration. Although it has not gone through the actual reforms that they wanted, let's say, for example, to convert, to allow 100% foreign ownership on Philippine corporations. That has not been fully implemented, only with the banks. But if that is the direction, that's going to be very controversial. The other thing is the PPP. I think the PPP by itself should be discontinued, because what happened with the PPP is that they opened up public utilities for foreign private ownership, not just private sector, but also to allow foreign investors in the public utilities. Right now, as you can see, the most attractive sector for the PPP is the energy sector. There are many investors here because it is very lucrative. Why? Because it's a captive market, and almost protected by government. That's why we're paying the highest electricity rates probably in the world. These are the things that the people were complaining about. And if you continue this and even expand this, it's going to be very controversial.
Si Prof. Jing, you would
just-
like to add?
Yeah, just to add a bit. Hindi pala ako ekonomista, baka malaman na akin.
You just used to work with the Senate,
Yeah, Senate
Economic
Economic
Planning
Planning
Office,
Office.
which somehow makes you
So, yung tama si si Sir Butch na kailangan din kasi tingnan kung yung objectives ng pagpalit ng constitution. And yung halimbawa yung sa federalism, ano ba yung objective mo? Is this just to resolve the issue of Mindanao? Then hindi kailangang i-federalize
Form
yung
of
buong
government,
bansa. Yung buong bansa. Pwedeng may mga modelong ganito sa ibang bansa kung saan may mga part ng population nila na merong mga halimbawa secessionist movements. Tapos, of course, kasama na rin doon yung economic provisions yung sinasabi mo. Pero sa akin, yun nga, yung going back to the objectives, hindi pwede ring mahiwalay yung political and economic objectives. Kailangan, kung magbabago yung political system natin, kailangan alamin din natin kung ano yung political system that can best optimize yung economic growth that we are already experiencing right now. Yung parang ganun.
Amending the economic provisions of the Constitution, is it the only way for our country to move forward, to improve economically, or there are other ways na dapat gawin without opening up our economy to foreign ownership? Yan po ay sasagutin ng ating mga panauhin ngayong gabi after we pause for a short break. Magbabalik po ang Political Watch. Magbabalik po ang Political Watch at kasama pa rin natin ang aming mga panauhin ngayong gabi na sina Dr. Franco and of course si dating Undersecretary Butch Valdes. Earlier, bago tayo nagkaroon ng break, meron kaming hanging question. At of course, if I may iterate it, kailangan ba talagang baguhin ang ating mga economic provision sa ating saligang batas para ang ating ekonomiya ay magiging maunlad? Or there are other ways and means, of course, for our country to grow economically? Yusef.
Well, kung susundan lang talaga natin ang ating saligang batas, maganda na sana no? As a matter of fact, right now, what we're doing is going against our saligang batas. No? Because the Constitution actually says and emphasizes that the economy must be primarily benefiting the Filipinos and must be directed by the Filipinos. No? And so any kind of move towards this, against this, is going to be detrimental to this particular provision. Now, there has been move, and right now we're doing it as we speak, of inviting foreign investors into our country or allowing them to get almost surreptitiously, I would say not almost, surreptitiously, a law had been passed last year to allow banks to be, to allow foreign equity to enter our banks 100%. This has not been fully implemented.
Naipasa ba ito? Or
Naipasa yan.
So it's now a law?
It is a law that was signed by Noynoy Aquino. And the way it was done was almost under the...
like a thief in the night.
Exactly. And very fast. No, it didn't last one day in the Senate nor one day in Congress. No, and then finally within.
Hindi ito I don't.
This is the 100% ownership of
this
banks.
Is not known to so many. In
Yes.
fact, I'm surprised. Ngayon ko lang natinig yan.
No, and it should be told to the told to the public even more often and explaining what the repercussions of this would be. When foreign banks, 100% of foreign banks are allowed to enter, then they are already allowed to buy Philippine assets. Philippine assets and Philippine corporations.
And own lands.
And own land. So once they do this, what has been done in other countries before, like even Argentina, and that's why they stopped this, was they securitize this. and they securitize this ownership of assets, let's say in the Philippines, and later on will be selling this in Wall Street for many people to
Why is
invest
this
in.
not being questioned before our Supreme Court?
Well,
If last
I
year
would
pa ito
say-
na ano, if last year pa naging batas,
Walang nakakaalam.
ilang buwan na, at least so many months has elapsed na ika
I'm
nga
sure- well-
hindi ito kini-question, and I'm sure this can really be questioned before the Supreme Court.
maybe it's because Professor Jean Franco left the Senate because it doesn't seem to get the reaction from the Senate. Either they don't know about it, they don't know the implications, or they don't care.
Or they willingly cooperated.
Yeah,
That's it.
lobby.
So that's dangerous. It is like a backdoor into this. This reform that they're talking about that needs to be changed they just want probably to institutionalize it, but the foot is already there, no? And by itself it can already be implemented. No?
Dr. Jin, presumptive President-elect Duterte, Digong Duterte, has announced that he will be appointing females in his cabinet, mga babae. In fact, kalahati nga daw ay mga babae. Sa inyong pananaw, dahil until now wala pang mga nababanggit
Isa
na
pa lang.
mga
Bago
pangalan
pa lang.
ng mga babae na pwede magiging miyembro ng kanyang kabinete. Sa inyong pananaw, sino ba ang mga dapat i-appoint niya na magiging miyembro ng kanyang kabinete, and to what positions?
May mga pangalan na yata silang kinukuha ngayon, kumukuha ng mga CVs. At like for instance, sa Department of Foreign Affairs, meron na silang meron na
Acting.
silang
Perfecto Yasay. Okay.
Pero pwede rin sana doon si Ambassador Rosario Manalo in a holdover capacity, since she is much respected internationally.
Even if she's retired, dahil political appointment naman.
Political
diba?
appointment naman. Pero sana mag-appoint din siya ng ng babae doon sa post na hindi karaniwang hindi karaniwang binibigay sa babae. Kasi 'di ba sabi niya gusto raw niya Trudeau. Trudeau like
type of
cabinet.
government.
Sana
50-50.
sana
50-50.
Justin Trudeau, hindi Pierre Trudeau yung
The old
tatay.
man.
No, so yun. So offhand wala pa akong
From among the academe, from UP for example, there are so many people there who can be members of the cabinet. May na ka ba? May nakikita ka bang pwede, for example, na maging Department of National Defense, Secretary of National Defense, or DILG Secretary?
sa
For a change, ha? For a change.
Department of National Defense, di si Professor Carolina Hernandez ng
Could be one of them.
department ko, no? Pero meron na yata silang napupusuan.
Most probably, it will be Gibo, Chidoro.
But Dr. Hernandez is credentials speak for itself, at she's also known internationally.
Pag national security ang pinag-uusapan. How about in other departments?
Well, I don't look at it as women or men.
As long
No.
as capable.
Again, like we were talking about earlier, once he defines what his objective is, and he tells his cabinet members, this is what we're supposed to come up with. All of your programs must coincide with this national objective to attain this national objective. Then whether they are women or men
Doesn't matter.
doesn't really matter. No. It has the capabilities right now of women are clearly at par with that of men. No, or I should say the other way around. No? That men have finally reached the level of competence of women. But it's the national objective. He has to define it. It's not a matter of this guy is a graduate from so and so, and he is this and he is that, and he has worked before there. That's not important.
In
No.
short, you don't have to have all these degrees. You
No.
don't have even
No.
have to be a graduate of a particular
Regular school,
course.
No. You
Yeah.
all
Or
you
any
have to
school.
do is, can you do this?
Yes. And in fact,
This is what I want.
in fact,
Can you do it?
the presumptive president-elect himself
Yeah.
is the very example.
Exactly.
Diba? Sabi nga niya, puro lang 75 eh. Diba? Nangungupya pa nga daw siya and all that. And yet, he is now on the verge of becoming our
alter
next
ego
president.
niya yung kanya magiging cabinet
Right.
members.
And he's got a highly developed common sense. Right?
Yes.
And common sense is maybe what other presidents don't have.
Exactly.
Right.
And most administrations at that,
Right. So
previously.
here he is, and through his own pronouncements prior to the election, he's saying, "This is what I want. This is what I want." Let's get it on, right? The sad part that I can see, I mentioned earlier, there are sectors that seem to want to relegate him only to peace and order issues, right? That
There is.
I'm going to shoot these guys and so on and so forth, and you leave these things to him, and then on economics and the rest should be other people with so-called capabilities. No, as a president, you're not just the national policeman. You're the president, and foreign affairs, economics, no, and all other areas that are involved, no, in as far as the life of Filipinos are concerned, must be addressed by the president. No?
Yeah.
And you don't have to be a Superman.
No, there is no
course.
such thing as a Superman.
You
right?
can be like Ronald Reagan.
Well, yeah,
But-
get it moving. No.
Just appoint the best and the brightest,
Yeah.
and then just lead them and direct them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so far, thus far, nakikita naman natin that kung ipagbabase na lang natin sa kanyang karanasan as mayor of Davao City, he can do it.
Yeah, and if I may add, whoever he appoints in the cabinet, sana would have the guts to actually what do you call this? Resign if
Hindi niya
things do
kaya.
not get o kung hindi niya kaya tapos merong popular clamor. Kung talagang
Ibig sabihin, buhayin si Delicadeza.
yeah, at saka kung talagang kasi may mga lumalabas ngayon na ayan na naman, kaibigan, kaklase. Sa akin naman wala akong reklamo doon eh. For as long as dahil nga kaibigan
They deliver.
ka,
For the job.
kaibigan ka ngayon kapag ka nasasaktan na yung imahe ng presidente, dapat ikaw na ang manguna. Huwag mo nang intayin yung presidente na ma-pressure pa na mag-resign, hindi ba? Tapos ang tingin ko, ang importante, kung alter ego nga niya ang cabinet, dapat ito ay cabinet na working cabinet. Yung talagang nagre-respond sa mga tao.
Yes.
Kung may kalamidad, andun agad. Kasi nakikita ko magiging ganun siya eh. Sabi nga niya, he wants to be remembered as a working president. Kasi mukhang yun
Hands-on talaga.
yung hindi nakita ng tao dito sa present administration. Pag may kalamidad, parang
Wala.
kulang ang presensya ng gobyerno.
Ibig sabihin, ang kailangan dito ay lots and lots of common sense and lots of hard work.
Yeah, exactly.
With those two, I think a lot of things can be done. Kasi
Promising.
ang dami na natin nakikita, patong-patong ang mga doctoral degrees nila and all. With due respect, of
Yes,
course,
of course, yes.
to those who have it. We have nothing against them. In fact, we admire them. Pero pagdating sa pag-aayos ng problema ng Pilipinas, baka ang kailangan lang talaga, and Yusek Valdes said it before, a little earlier in our program, common sense lang eh. And then, the political will, and of course, working so hard
Yeah.
to effect it.
Oo. And also since halimbawa magma-manage ka ng cabinet, kahit na anong galing mo kung hindi ka manager, kasi remember, pupunta ka sa isang bureaucracia na maraming mga taong matagal na doon. So they know more about the bureaucracy
Exactly.
than you. So kailangan din manager ka, magaling kang humawak ng tao, alam mong pagtrabahuin sila, di ba? Doon sa gusto mong vision.
Now, I want to go back to talking about the economy. Kasi the first time that he met with Makati Business Club, medyo parang nasuya sila kasi wala daw platform for the economy. But right now, since na-laid down na nila yung mga 8-point economic agenda nila, medyo sabi na it's actually promising. And sinabi mo nga po kasi parang continuation lang. Sabi naman ni Duterte, why fix if it ain't broken? Diba, no? Now that yung recent growth po natin ay nag-surge due to election spending, which is, we all know, permanent lang po yan, papaano po kaya masusustain pagpasok ng Duterte administration, aside doon sa mga things that you mentioned, Yusek, na dapat tanggalin, yung naman dapat nilang pagtuunan ng pansin?
Well, I have to start off with the controversial statement. I do not believe in GDP. Right? I come from a school that believed in it before, but GDP does not translate into the quality of life of your people. Because of this anomaly, then I started to review everything that I had studied. Having said that, that's why I say maybe we should have a different measure of our growth. Our growth must be focused on the quality of life of the population. And it has to reach, for example, things like calorie intake, daily calorie intake of the population,
Yes.
right? How much food are they consuming will determine how much their capability to survive will be. No? And it moves on. The logic goes further and further up. See, okay. Now, and then it will reach that point where you say infrastructure will have to be set up by the government, no, in order to start the businesses that will be coming in, that will be providing jobs, that will be providing the... Now, what is the infrastructure that is responsibility of government? I would say first and foremost now, it's energy. Not this farm-to-market BS that we keep on saying for the past how many decades now. Energy is what that we need to focus on. However, we had abdicated our government's role in energy by passing the APIRA law. Okay? Why abdicated? Government now cannot intervene into this energy sector no? Because private sector, because of that law, deems it unfair competition.
Unless that law
Is
is
repealed.
done away with.
Exactly. That's why if we are to start off with the right type of economics for our people, no, number one, we'll have to focus on the repeal of that law. It's going to be a little difficult, but if you have a sincere and courageous and patriotic president, which I believe he is, no, he's going to do everything he can to change this.
We will continue, Tita Angela, with our discussions. Pagpatuloy namin yung aming talakayan. But in the meantime, we will pause for a short break. Magbabalik po kami.
Nagbabalik po ang Political Watch. Prof. Jean, yung aking katanungan kanina.
Tama rin yung sinabi ni
Yusek Valdes.
Butch, no, na hindi lang talaga kailangan tingnan ng GDP. At ang yung sinasabi mo in terms of addressing yung kung mapapagpatuloy ba yung
mapapagpatuloy.
Actually, it's not so much the growth kasi kailangan din talagang i-address yung inequality. Siguro kung titingnan natin, ang sinasabi ng mga ekonomista, kailangan palakasin yung agricultural sector kasi nandun yung karamihan ng trabaho, di ba? Doon lang matutugunan talaga yung inequality kasi maraming nagsasabi na for the past years na tayo ay umaangat economically, yumayaman lang yung mga dati ng mayaman.
Tapos yung mahirap, lalo pa rin humihirap.
In fact, hindi naman ganun na-address yung poverty situation natin at lalong-lalo na yung inequality.
But what about the 4-piece program? Sabi ng Duterte administration, they are willing to continue and expand it. As a matter of fact.
Yung 4-piece naman, hindi naman niya, hindi naman talaga siya malawakang solusyon sa poverty. Gusto lang niyang i-break yung cycle ng poverty. At gusto niyang, meron siyang mga goals na halimbawa para ma-address yung maternal mortality rate kasi kailangan bibigyan ka ng ganitong allowance, tapos attend ka ng mga family sessions para tapos kailangan magkaroon ka ng magpapa-prenatal ka, yung mga ganong mga
may conditions,
no? So hindi siya yung sustainable solution.
Now, let's go to all roads lead to Davao. Kasi yung isa-isahin natin yung sinasabi niyang mga gagawin niya, yung ginawa niya sa Davao na which will be implemented soon daw dito sa buong Metro Manila as well or for the whole country. Number 1 dyan, yung curfew.
Curfew
Yung
for us.
Curfew sa mga sa atin, tapos
Sa atin.
curfew sa unescorted minors. Diba? Tapos liquor ban.
After, let's say, 12 or 1 a.m. in the morning.
Ang actually, yung pagpapakulong sa mga magulang ay nagagawa na yun sa Mandaluyong
And
sa
then of
city
course,
ng Mandaluyong.
yung sinasabi niya, marami kasi ito, no, is pagsama-sama na natin.
oo.
Yung ika nga, ang mga barangay chairpersons, ang mangunguna sa front
Bibigyan
line.
din ng firearms sa
Diba?
mga barangay.
And then of course, yung mga malalaking mga pagbabago na gusto niya mangyari, like, na pinopropose niya, like for example, yung general amnesty for the communists, for the CPP, NPA, NDF.
Yes.
Yung offer niya ng 4 na cabinet posts for them also, assuming na ika nga makapagpapakita sila ng good faith during the peace negotiations that will once again be reopened. And of course, yung kanyang gustong mangyari na ibalik ang death penalty through hanging.
Oh, yeah.
What can you say about all these things, big and small?
Well, I think ang gusto ni presumptive president-elect ay talagang maramdaman na ng tao, no? They
Kamay
feel
na
that,
bakal, sinasabi.
yeah, because that was his brand during the campaign. And but I do not actually agree with all those proposals. Halimbawa, yung death penalty, people are saying, and that it does not actually result in fewer number of crimes, no? And usually nga mas mahihirap, mas lalong nasa-subject to death penalty. But of course, meron ding ibang reason, like gusto niyang ihang yung mga or i-subject to death penalty yung mga drug lords and everything. Pero yung hanging medyo
Saloneta
we
daw.
will be
Medieval
criticized by Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, and I'm sure the diplomatic community will also be very critical of these things.
Yung gusto niya ibalik yung actually di ibalik to be factual about it, nasa ating saligang batas pa rin, di ba? Ang death penalty. Ang inalis lang, ang nirepeal lang is the enabling law, the law that was passed to provide for the means of carrying out death penalty na until lately through lethal injection. So nirepeal yan, and therefore while we still have the death penalty with us dahil nasa ating saligang batas, it cannot be carried out because there is no way provided by law, no means or means provided by law to carry it out. So but whatever it is, it will take about at least 2 or 3 years before any death penalty at the fastest can be implemented, assuming that a law will be passed to provide once again, let's say, for hanging as the mode of carrying out the death penalty. So sa tingin nyo ba well, in the meantime, para bang ika nga parang cosmetic lang muna or pakitang tao na ibalik ang death penalty, but unang-una ay law has to be passed para ika nga to provide for the means or the mode. And number 2, since prospective ang magiging application nito and not retroactive, somebody has got to commit a heinous crime and then he has to be arrested, charged, and then kailangan he has to be proven guilty by final judgment ng ating Korte Suprema. And we all know at the rate our justice system is moving that this will take years. Baka after pa nga siguro ng presidency ni presumptive President-elect Rodrigo Duterte, ma-execute yung unang kriminal by final judgment. And therefore, in the meantime, walang real death penalty na pwede talagang i-implement.
Yun yatang previous natin nung meron tayong before it was repealed, di ba? Parang isa lang, si Leo Echegaray lang ba ang parang quite a handful lang or isa lang yung natatandaan kong
kasi ang
sa death penalty.
Pagkakaalam ko, during the Ramos administration, mayroong death penalty, di ba? I think electric chair pa yun.
Electric chair.
And then the mode was changed to lethal injection. So I think yung sa lethal injection, baka isa lang nga eh, or
May
dalawa.
sinasabi si Yusek dito kung ba't daw natigil yung electric chair.
Never brown out.
Because of the energy crisis.
Ang isa pang implikasyon nitong magkaroon tayo ng death penalty, lalo na kung hanging, although sa akin, kahit anong mode pa, I personally disagree with death penalty. Yung natin, mawawalan tayo ng moral ascendancy pagka kunwari merong isang OFW sa Saudi na 'di ba doon, if I remember correctly, hanggang ngayon pa rin, 'di ba?
Yes, yung
Beheading ba or something like that. So medyo mawawalan tayo kasi sasabihin pag nag-a-appeal tayo, for instance, na bakit sa inyo
Kayo
meron
din,
kayo?
you're doing that also.
And we have to amend our constitution also with regards to that. Dahil under our constitution, cruel and unusual punishments are unconstitutional.
Okay.
So, i-adjust mo rin yan. And since we are going to be revising our constitutions, all these things will have to be taken into account.
You said.
That's why, well, Digong or President-elect Duterte has said that he is going to shoot those people that are or refuse to be arrested.
Yung shoot to kill order.
So he has a shoot to kill order. Now,
Hindi ito yung yung sugba, tula, at saka
he
kilaw.
might be
Shoot to kill talaga.
He might be thinking along what you're saying that this will take an. But he has now a head of PNP who is also talking a little differently from what we think. Now, this head of the PNP will be disseminating an order to nationwide to the police. And this police will be interpreting it a little differently from what we think.
Yes.
So this is the problem with this order of so-called favoring death penalty. It might give us, might be giving some people the license to kill, which is very, very dangerous. But having said that, I agree with Professor Jean that when you have death penalty, by and large, only the poor people are the ones that are hit, because the rich ones, including the drug lords, can get the lawyers and can get themselves acquitted,
Or can bribe the judges.
or even can flee the country. Okay, so and so just by saying death penalty, you're going to be shooting and killing even if they're pushers, still those that are impoverished. No? Those are the poor sector, and that's the majority. I would review, of course, these types of statements on death penalty to focus only or applicable only to those that refer to threats to national security or treason, for example. No?
Which can only be used as a basis to charge someone in times of war.
Not
Treason.
necessarily. Not necessarily. That's why I'm
You
saying.
can commit a treasonous act, but you cannot be charged for treason if there is no ongoing war.
No, that is the conventional, and right now that's how we see it. But we should be able to revise that, to expand,
Change the law.
expand that law, into including people that are going against national interests. Now, if you are able to show that the drug issue, the drug menace, is already of a national character and threatens the very core of the society, of Filipino society, and can be in different ways can be considered as a threat to national security, then maybe that is the kind of law that you can apply for death, because it is very difficult for a poor person to commit treason.
Yes.
Treason. Only the rich ones and those that are in government are actually susceptible to this type of crime, treason. No? If you present it that way, somebody who is getting paid by drug syndicates, to protect them, some senator, some cabinet member, or somebody even in Malacanang who might be shown to be protecting this syndicate, it's treasonous. No? And I think that should apply to them. But to be pushing to get a few pesos because you're starving, this old lady who doesn't know much about these drugs, but she has a commodity together with the cigarettes that she is selling, say, and then shoot her because she's doing that might be a little too much. No? You can put her in jail or so on and so forth.
So until we trust our justice system, then we can talk about the death
Yes.
penalty. Parang ganun, ano? But I wanna go po dun sa, yesterday kasi naproklama na yung 12 senators natin, ano? And then, yeah, we have a diverse set of senators. May new ones, may mga old ones na nandoon na, no? Would you think Duterte will have a hard time working with this new set of senators? Or baka bigyan sila ng
At
pagkakataon?
isama nyo na dyan, yung ongoing ngayon, yung nangyayaring circus. Kasi andyan na yung mga acrobats, di ba? Mga turncoats. Di ba?
Yes.
Because that is related to your question, di ba? Para makuha niya yung ano.
Yes.
Idagdag nyo na rin yan.
I think historically nakukuha naman ng presidente yung coalition na gusto niya, especially that the presumptive president-elect is very popular. People are flocking to Davao. And may mga nag-declare na ng coalition, no? Ay, ng alliance with his with the coalition that he is forming. So I guess I will not be surprised if the Liberal Party would be the minority bloc in the Senate.
Pwede mo bang masabi, Yusek, there is still, of course, leading siya sa bilangan. The possibility that she will become the vice president is there. I'm referring, of course, to Congresswoman Leni Robredo. Yung possibility ba na yan na ultimately she will be declared as the vice president of the Philippines is a major factor as to why many members of the Liberal Party as of now are hedging their bets, are holding their horses. Di muna sila lumilipat sa bagong administrasyon dahil pag si Leni Robredo ang magiging vice president, then she is a heartbeat away from the presidency, and even after 6 years, she can very well be a viable candidate for president. And therefore, wag muna tayo lumipat. Hindi na bali magiging minority party tayo na may kalakasan dahil there are still 110 members of the Liberal Party in Congress right now.
I would think that this issue about the vice presidency, as of now, I consider it irrelevant. It all depends as to how this president is going to function. I said earlier that he has a cushion of popularity. For as long as he has that cushion of popularity, the legislature, the members of Congress and the Senate will be flocking to him. But even overnight, if he loses that popularity because of some measure that he didn't do or he had done, that thing will turn reverse, regardless of whatever alliances they had signed
If
up.
he does away with the pork barrel system, will all these people still flock?
Completely.
Yes.
If he does away with that, I don't think, which is good, by the way. I would subscribe to that. No? But I don't think he will have that kind of so-called support. No? And then we will have a real functioning democracy, wherein you have a legislature who thinks as a to counterbalance the executive, and then also eventually, because the one that's holding the purse doesn't have anything to give to them, even an independent judiciary.
Dr. Jean, practical ba yan? Alisin niya completely? Wala na. Mula ngayon, wala nang insertions, completely, wala nang PDAP, or kung ano man ang magiging pangalan, wala nang DAP dahil unconstitutional nga, and therefore, ang gawin ninyo, yun ang dapat gawin nyo, gumawa kayo ng mga batas, you have to craft laws, dahil yun ang trabaho ninyo, pasensyahan na po. But do you think, in the practical world that we live in, yan ba ay pwede niyang gawin, lalong-lalo na marami siyang gustong baguhin sa ating sistema?
The thing is, can we really do away with the pork barrel? Kasi for as long as there is a big ticket item in the budget, it's really pork barrel, whatever way you call it, di ba? So, yun. And historically and traditionally, the pork barrel has been in the absence of a mature political parties. Yun yung nagiging
Insistence,
yun yung nagiging carrot and stick na dinadanggal ng president, no. So yun yung ideally, I mean, of course, who wouldn't want that?
In a perfect world.
Yes.
Actually, so during Marcos's time, there was no such thing as pork barrel. The biggest that the congressmen were getting was $100,000 pesos a year. No? The pork barrel system started during Corazon Aquino's time.
Yes.
Ang ibig
And
sabihin,
increased. And
in the
increased.
pre-martial law Congress, walang pork barrel.
Pork barrel.
So ko lang habulin ito sa kanya last na kasi syempre si Duterte, first Mindanaoan president. 'Di ba? Syempre ang lahat po ng mga taga Mindanao on that part is really looking forward doon sa mga hinihiling nila. Sinasabi nga nila, malapit na sila sa kusina. No, ano po yung magandang gawin ni President-elect Rodrigo Duterte to address nga po talaga yung problema sa mga taga Mindanao?
First and foremost, I think, first and foremost, kailangan buusan na talaga ng infrastructure dyan. Yung sinasabi niyang circumferential railway system, implement niya because that was even during Marcos's time.
Yes.
And energy, no? Make sure if at all kung pwede nang lagyan ng nuclear energy dyan, lagyan na niya, no? And all of these things are going to increase the productivity of Mindanao, no? And when you do that, I think it would substantially solve the problem, the political problem in
There in
Mindanao.
Mindanao. Prof.
And I think in addition to that, kailangan ding sa lahat ng proseso sa sasaayos ng Mindanao, andun yung boses ng indigenous peoples communities, Muslim community, at saka ng at saka ng mga marginalized sectors doon. Kasi hindi kailangan sila mismo yung konsultahin. Hindi yung mga taong nagsasabing we represent this sector.
Yes.
Ayan po,
On that note,
Tita Angel, abangan na lang natin ang parating na Duterte, kung saan papasok na ang ating sunod na Pangulo na si Rodrigo Duterte. And of course, maraming salamat po muli sa ating mga panauhin ngayong gabi na sina Professor Franco and of course, si Yusek Butch Valdes.
At maraming salamat din po sa inyo mga Polwatchers ng bayan sa walang sawa ninyong pagsuporta sa inyong programa.
Once again, Tita Angel,
Thank you.
maraming salamat sa inyong paghalili kay Professor
Thank you
George
din.
Erwin Garcia. Sa susunod na Biyernes po ay muli po kayong tumutok sa ating programang tumatalakay ng mga usaping may kinalaman sa ating pang-araw-araw na pamumuhay.
Dito sa Political Watch, sagot namin ang mga impormasyon. Nasa inyo ang paggawa ng desisyon at ang pagbuo ng opinyon.
Atin pong tandaan na isa-isang malusog na bayan.
Sumusunod sa batas ang mamamayan. Salamat.
Sa Diyos.